Okay, so I would like to give you some pointers about how to handle complaints when they do land, right? Because they will land. It is a normal part of business. Things go wrong sometimes. It's rare not to get complaints in a business. Whatever that complaint's about, your first reaction will likely be some kind of strong emotion, won't it? This is something you've created with your bare hands, something you're passionate about. It will feel personal, especially the first few times it happens. I'm never going to tell you that your feelings aren't valid, but your priority is finding calm so you can handle this well for the sake of your business. So consider your reply before you send it, right? What I'm saying is, do not respond until those initial strong emotions, that adrenaline response, has subsided. But get a grip on this because you do need to get back to them in a timely manner. This person's waiting for you, they're likely upset. Take it professionally, not personally. Remember that you are human. Humans make mistakes sometimes. That customer is also human and has a right to be upset if they feel that you've made a mistake. Don't ever assume that they're trying to scam you. Yeah, that does happen, but please, always go into your response at least acting like you believe they're being genuine. If it's a regular customer complaining, it is very likely to be genuine. So please accept a complaint with an open mind and a desire to avoid conflict. That's what you're aiming for. So your emotions are kicking off. Reframe it. See it as just an unexpected obstacle that you need to get over. It's just a box that you need to tick. It's a normal part of business. It's a normal part of life to come across things that upset your day. It is a learned and a valuable skill to manage your emotions and find a solution. The main point that I want to get across to you is that your attitude, the way that you communicate, is everything. If you can't respond immediately, let them know that you are sorry that they are unhappy, you want to remedy this, but you're currently busy, you'll get back to them as soon as possible. Don't leave them thinking that you're not bothered. Don't leave them on red. Don't leave them feeling ignored, or things might escalate when they actually don't need to. The first thing you need to do is consider how valid this complaint could be. You might have baked that recipe perfect 100 times. What if this time your oven dial was a tiny little bit high, or what if your oven's starting to malfunction? If the cakes melted or collapsed, did you give them clear storage and travel instructions? Did you give that cake plenty of time to settle and crust over before they collected it? Right, go back over your order details. Have you spelt the name wrong? Or did they send it spelled that way? Was it their mistake? Even if you think the complaint's not justified, you need to handle the situation politely, always with that view of avoiding conflict. If you gave them storage instructions that they haven't followed, that is on them. If you made it clear the design photos that they sent can't and won't be copied exactly, send them a screenshot of where you said that. All as being damage limitation mode, right? Your approach is everything. So whip out that order confirmation that you sent to them and they checked and agreed to. Go over your terms and conditions and check where you stand from a legal viewpoint. Your terms and conditions should have your complaints process in there, so pointing them to that should help the process. I'll link you to my consumer law freebie course if you haven't seen it, because there's a lot of detail in there regarding different types of complaints. And in that course, I give you links to official consumer law websites so you can check for yourself what your rights are and what you need to do. Excuse me. But the basics are, under consumer law, goods should be satisfactory quality, fit for purpose, and as described. That is obviously nuanced, but we don't get to decide what those terms mean. The customer may disagree with us. If any single one of those terms are not fulfilled, under the eyes of the law, we're in breach of the sales contract, so the customer's got a right to a refund or replacement. Please do go look at that consumer law course. I go into massive detail. I give loads of examples of, typical complaints that bakers receive. Could there have been a miscommunication? What expectations weren't met? Why and how weren't they met? A customer's got a right to complain. Please have patience. Listen, let them vent the problem. Have compassion. Not everybody's out to get you. Not everybody's out to scam you. Fighting fire with fire makes the whole world burn. Put it out with water. Stay calm. de-escalate as much as you can. If it's a food safety complaint, I'm going to post a link to the video in the caption here, because you need to be really careful how you handle food safety complaints, or you could end up with a food safety visit and investigation. Right, your response to a complaint, keep it professional. Always think how it will look in a screenshot. Take accountability wherever you need to. Even if they are wrong, if they've got the wrong date, if they've misspelled a name, be nice about it, right? Because that wouldn't have been intentional. They might not realise that they did that. Still seek a solution. If you can correct the wrong spelt name quickly at no cost to yourself, do so. If you can, consider, is this a learning opportunity? Is there anything more you could have done to clarify that particular detail? I cover all this in my customer service process about sending an order confirmation, making it clear that they need to triple check all of those details in it. Don't argue. Even if they're right for it, it's not about one-upmanship, it's about protecting your business. They're probably already pissed off when they sent the message, so don't antagonise them further, no matter how defensive you feel. Tell them you want to sort it out, but you follow a procedure as laid out in your terms and conditions. Things that you should never say. I've never had a complaint before. Well, I've still got the offcuts and they're fine. I made 3 cakes in that batch, everybody else is happy. All of these things are dismissive. They're going to get you a reputation, right? Keep it private. Don't ever rant on socials about them. Imagine you're a potential customer reading it. You can show positivity without admitting any fault. Right, let's get this sorted. I hate that you've had a bad experience here with me. Send me photos. Can you return what's left so I can look at how did you store it? Empathy always. If you fucked up, own it. Apologise. Know what you've got to do legally. Ask them what outcome they want. Do they want a refund or replacement? Refund or replacement is your legal obligation if you haven't, met the terms of consumer law. It doesn't always have to be 100% refund or replacement. Depending on how bad your mess up was, that governs how big a hit you need to take. A small mistake with an easygoing customer might be remedied with like a free box of 6 cupcakes for Halloween or whatever calendar occasion's next. A massive cock up for a gobby person, you might need to refund, apologise profusely, and still give them that box of free cupcakes as compensation, to stop them from battering your local reputation. Only you can decide how to handle it. It depends on what that customer will be happy with. But you being skint or being a beginner or not charging a lot for your cakes is no defence under consumer law. The product should be of suitable quality, fit for purpose, and as described. You don't need to insist on getting the product back if photos can prove that you've messed up. If the order form says chocolate and you've sent vanilla, you imagine in that moment at the party, they've just sung happy birthday, all kids are sat there with the paper plates, they need cake, so they're going to serve the wrong flavour. So asking for it back's not fair. In the eyes of the law, that cake, it's not as described, it's not what they ordered. So the customer doesn't have to fulfil their side of the sales contract, meaning they don't have to part with money for it, so a refund's due. It would be a refund or replacement, but you're not going to be replacing the cake after the party's done. You could give them the next cake of equivalent price for free, but only if they agree to that. They have the right to a money refund in that situation because the occasion's passed that the order was made for. If it was eaten and enjoyed, they might not be asking for a full refund anyway. But if you're just unyielding and you're insisting you want half the cake back, even though you know that you've messed up and you know you've given it wrong flavour, you are in the wrong legally and I would say morally as well. It's not a good look for your business. If you know you've messed up, don't mess up further by handling it wrong. Be aware, if a cake's dry and nobody finishes their slice, of course they're going to bin it. The person who paid might not even know until they're told by whoever went round with bin bag, oh, there were a lot of cake went in there. So it needs handling sensitively. You are within your rights. In the case of a quality complaint that can't be judged by a photo, you're in your right to ask for a return of anything that is left so you can inspect it, and that should be within the shelf life of the product. Each time you come up against this, you need to be in damage limitation mode. It is bloody difficult, but sometimes we've got to back down. We need to take a bit of a hit with a refund if the customer is gobby. You know, consider giving him a gesture of 30 quid back. That might cost you less than the reputation damage of them kicking off on social media. You know, giving a refund might hurt less than bad PR, especially with such local businesses. So what outcome do they want? If it's a repair, you know, repairs under consumer law can mean correcting whatever mistake was made. So, you know, adding a detail that you've missed off, for example, you know, or a replacement. Can you do it in time for the occasion? Are they happy to get the next occasion cake for free? If not, it's refund time. A refund should be made within 14 days by the same payment method unless they agree to something different. They might be happy with a part refund or a box of apology cupcakes or a discount off the next order. But if they do a full refund, a refund is a refund. It's not a credit note, it's not a discount off the next order or a free box of cupcakes. If you messed up, it will cost you, and it should cost you. Put yourself in their shoes. Would you be happy? I'm not a fan of partial refunds if it's not satisfactory quality, fit for purpose, or as described. They haven't got what they ordered, full stop. For me, that means they should have a refund. Don't be afraid to compromise if it's going to make the situation better. Every complaint is an opportunity for that person to discredit your business. You might not agree with the complaint, but for the sake of that gesture of 30 quid for wrong filling, you know, if the cake were eaten and enjoyed, it might cost you less in the long run than, you know, them being able to say they got my filling wrong and all she did was say sorry and left it at that. You know, if they say they put wrong filling in, but the cake was actually still nice and she instantly said sorry and sent me 30 quid back, that's a much better outcome. That person that they're telling that story to is probably still going to be happy to order from you, hearing that that's how you handled it. So it is a tough one, but we don't have to be right all the time. If somebody wants the deposit back when they cancel, you know, and your terms might say no deposit returns, but sometimes it is just easier and better for his reputation to do that if you can. You know, remember, we are sole traders. Rather than upsetting somebody who would have come back if we'd allowed them to transfer the deposit to another date, as sole traders, we write our own terms and conditions and we choose to enforce our own terms and conditions, and they know that. So, you know, just say, oh, it's company policy, that may very well wind them up. If you're going to be stubborn, word will spread. If you're accommodating, they will leave happy. It's delicate, I know, but just pick your battles, always with your business reputation in mind, because that's what's at risk here. And getting a bad rep, whether you've earned it or not, is going to lose your money. Obviously, if they get abusive, if they get threatening, you've got that right to step away. I've given you my opinion about blocking. I consider it unprofessional. But if they are getting abusive, you can get those screenshots for your own defence if you need it. You know, rather than block it, just let them keep on going if they're being unpleasant and you've made it clear that you're not willing to accept that. If they're threatening to post on socials, don't actually worry too much about it, right? My worst customer situation ever, photos of the unfinished cake were posted to Facebook and were used as a way of trying to bully me into getting a refund, and it actually massively backfired on that person because my army of loyal customers backed me up. It was quite possibly one of the best pieces of marketing that I ever had, because everybody loves a bit of Facebook drama, don't they? So they were looking me up and they're seeing all my really good cake photos and they're reading all my brilliant reviews, seeing my customers defending me. So these type of people always trip themselves up. This one threatened to smash somebody's windows for defending me. So everybody could see what type of person she was, alongside seeing all the positive stuff on my Facebook business page. So don't worry too much if they do that, because it could actually work in your favour if they are such an unreasonable person. Once something is resolved amicably, thank them for the feedback. Tell them, it helps you to progress moving forward. Don't make the same mistake twice. Learn from it. So in summary, learn how to spot a dodgy one before you even take the order to prevent this happening in the first place. Calm your tits, rest your breasts, hakuna your tatters. Look at what your terms and conditions say. Have legal terms and conditions in place in the first place. Put the situation right and learn from it, yeah? Good luck out there.